There's a Bitcoin chart on the 6 hour. It's not pretty, right? Red candle's never pretty, but I think what is good is we're getting a move one way or the other. This has been sideways for basically 3 weeks. A little pump right here. I think that was the Grayscale news. All the way back down. We're finally getting a break out of this channel. So I think in general, that's a good thing. But I want to try and do some analysis on crypto as a whole, utilizing the Bitcoin charts. But I want to start with, I think, what is a huge narrative for this month of September. By the way, we all know September, historically a red month for crypto already. That doesn't help sentiment. But things like this are not helping. What is the market impact as FTX prepares to liquidate $3.4 billion in cryptos? This is what's happening. September 13th, a couple days away. That's the narrative right now. People are bearish because of this narrative alone. The possible fire sale has ignited worries, especially concerning the altcoins in FTX's possession. Records show that Solana forms the bulkiest portion of their assets, valued at roughly $685 million. You can see Bitcoin is on there, $268 million. Ethereum's on there, $90 million. Some top players, obviously the top two players in the crypto space. Could this be, as we go into a new week, amidst everything else going on in markets and the fear of this stage of the bear market, could this be what's playing into this Bitcoin chart? Potentially. But I think what is so important is why I'm doing this video right now is to zoom out, because let's just for a few minutes here, everybody, put aside these headlines and focus on the number one most historically consistent and valuable thing. And that is the zoomed out Bitcoin chart. This chart, everybody, is where it's at. And so I want to just we're going to do some Bitcoin technical analysis, and that means even on the short term to kind of discuss what's going on with Bitcoin right now. But this applies to crypto as a whole. Even if you hold altcoins right now, this chart is really setting up, I think, I don't want to give an exact time frame, but for the next 60 to 90 days, I think this is it. In terms of how long we waited for the end of this bear market, it's getting that close. So let's do it. Let's start. I want to start with a video that I did, and this was actually a month ago. This was August 10th. This was August 10th, 2023. Just check this out real quick, right? And basically you can see Bitcoin fell and trickled down over a course of months. This is a weekly chart to the 50-week moving average. That's in play. Anybody that's saying that's not in play, a fall like that for Bitcoin, pulling into the 50-week moving average, I think that's crazy. These moves, and I've been doing these videos, I think for like almost 6 years now. It's ridiculous. But these moves, when we discuss these moves, and by the way, that video, I discussed upside too. I'm not sitting here saying I called it. That's not why I'm doing this video. That's not what I'm saying here. But we position ourselves, at least this is how I do it, to anticipate every move, right? And these consistencies over the years, they're so amazingly consistent. They keep happening. It blows my mind every time. But more importantly, the time that it takes for these things to play out. I did that video around a month ago, and it's just been grueling. It takes time for these moves to happen. And this is what it looks like on Bitcoin right now. We were discussing the similarity of the last cycle. This is the last cycle in terms of such a similar area on the charts, Bitcoin at this 20-week moving average and falling to the 50-week moving average, right in the middle of this last accumulation area. That's what that red rectangle is before the Bitcoin halving, right? And then we're just comparing where we are this cycle. We're in the red rectangle once again, and there it is, falling below the 20-week moving average. You can see this is a weekly, basically the last month, just trickling down closer and closer to the 50-week moving average. Right around $24,000 is where that 50-week moving average is, that blue line. But the analysis of it all gets kind of even more zoomed in, and this is where it becomes kind of critical, this 50-week moving average around $24,000, just over $24,000, kind of a fail-safe support. Otherwise, it is extremely likely, I would say, that we're falling to around $21,000, maybe $20,000 to $21,000 down here, if this support at the 50-week doesn't hold. And why is that? Again, from that same exact video that I just looked at a month ago, just to set some easy context to what we've been tracking here, here is a clip from that video. This could be a concerning setup for Bitcoin. I've talked about it before. Breakout target to the downside around 21,000, whether you're looking at the head and shoulders or you're looking at the rising wedge. 21,000. 21,000 in play. Once again, having to wait for a move like that, but this is the chart. Check it out. So the 50-week moving average, this is a daily chart, but the 50-week moving average, we kind of just placed it. This is where it is on the weekly, that 50-week support. That's the fail-safe support. Bitcoin potentially on this daily could touch this, right? And maybe see support there and start bouncing to the upside where we don't even have to approach this area. However, this area is the target out of this rising wedge. And even this head and shoulders, which I discussed, some might disagree with that head and shoulders, the pattern, the setup of it, but I totally think, even though we have kind of these wicks higher than the head, it just looks like the story of a head and shoulders. That is to say, bull stepping in, bear stepping in to the head, to the neckline. Bull stepping in, stronger, bear stepping into the neckline. Bull stepping in, a little bit weaker looking, which it is, right? It just is weaker looking, that right shoulder. Bear stepping into the neckline. And there's the head and shoulders. That's what I see. Whether it's perfectly technically sound, it's besides the point. It's up for interpretation, but that's what I see. Neckline, but we also have mainly this rising wedge, and the breakout target is around 21,000 to the downside. It's a Fibonacci swing low to swing high. It's a Fibonacci area, higher low area. It's so normal for Bitcoin to make a move like that. We go to the weekly chart, we zoom out. This is what Bitcoin did back here when it was testing the 50-week moving average. It was a higher low for Bitcoin before continuing to the upside. Again, I'm kind of disregarding the COVID move. Hopefully we don't get another thing like that happening. But at the end of the day, everybody, as we do all this analysis, the point is this: everything that crypto is doing right now, including this Bitcoin chart, put aside bearish headlines, bullish headlines, put aside the month of September, FTX dumping, put aside Grayscale just had a nice little victory with the SEC, put aside everything else, bullish or bearish. This chart is just so calmly on track. And this is what it looks like. And it all plays into something I basically started discussing last night's video, which is this green box. This green box essentially marks, from a historical perspective, the end of this pain. If this cycle repeats as it has done previously. And what this is essentially, it's where Bitcoin bottomed out in the last cycle, and I'm talking about right here in the last cycle, as well as where it kind of bottomed out before moving continually higher in this cycle. Notice both of these moves in the same exact area of this red rectangle. And notice we are approaching that green area. These are the previous two bottoms of the previous cycles. This green area, this is where Bitcoin bottomed. We're approaching the area. We can say months away, but we're days away. I mean, if you really want to be optimistic about it, let's just look at this. 42 to 105, right? Days away. This is months away in the very short term after surviving this entire bear market. And the technical analysis of it all, when we look at something like this, it's ugly. Crypto's going to be down. Bitcoin might be down if we hit these targets. Altcoins down even more. Obviously, this is what it does. But I can't say this enough, everybody. And this is only the way I see it. I'm not here to try and convince you to be bullish. It doesn't matter to me what you do. But this is how I see it. I'm documenting my journey. And as I've just tracked these cycles, right? We were in this last bear cycle doing videos every day. And so many of the similarities are lining up once again. I'm so curious to see what happens next. So this is what's happening today. Everybody has a different opinion on it. Everybody has a different thought about what's going to happen next. Everybody has a different thought of whether or not it's bullish or bearish. But at the end of the day, I know how I see it. And I see this chart as extremely bullish, even if price is down, even if we zoom in on a weekly and price has been trickling down. It is what it is. These are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate you. Hit the subscribe and like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.